and our industry, we never, ever done so much content as now. So we are not in a dying business. I think what we are thinking is that we are in a dying business, but the business overall is exploding. But we are maybe thinking in the wrong ways.
If you could change one thing, not everything, which is what you want to change, pick one thing that would be your highest priority. What would you change if you look like a god? If you were one, what would you change?
Yeah, but it's quite simple. I would like to remove the broadcast standard into a consumer viewer standard and make production there. Then if the consumer needs are uncompressed 4K, we go up to that and really, for real, change that industry and adopt to that.
So you're eliminating everything and starting from scratch, from the ground up.
Yeah, but if
you were starting today, wouldn't you?
Yeah, then I would do that. And if you talk, the most watched content are still on YouTube, and it's not in broadcast standard, and it works fantastic. And then we can accelerate from that if we need to have what we consider high quality content.
You would want to be
quality.
You would want to be in a creator's phase,
mindset,
right?
For real.
Like so funny. I've heard again, YouTube creators, social media creators, guys in their room with a phone. So you would want to be that. And when you see the speed of how these guys came from this, and they actually have full professional gear and very lean way of producing content.
Yes.
This is what you want to be.
Yes.
Look at what we're producing here. We're producing on the floor of a convention. We're going to put this out on YouTube.
We have 4 mics, 4 cameras. There we go. And you were talking about those huge consoles. We're paying $200 a year for Riverside to record, and
Totally
then another
cloud-based.
$200 to distribute on Transistor. This is all it took for us to start a podcast 6 months ago.
They should give us money instead of us paying them. We just promoted them.
Yeah,
Simon,
100%.
same question. What if you could change one thing about this industry, what would it be?
It's one word, it's mindset.
Yeah. So
It's that these modern day technologies can completely transform the way we distribute content, and the mindset that the audience is in many different places. It's not just your big transmitter infrastructure in the UK or in Sweden that we've distributed content. That's gone. We all have to get into this mindset that modern day technologies and generative AI is going to completely change. If we don't, it's going to be hugely problematic.
But it's not change for bad. I think I think there's this binary thing, this black and white mindset.
They're
fear of finding out.
Yes.
FOFO.
If you put the right technology in the right creative hands, it is a rocket ship for growth.
And it'll get better. The
it's a
content
rocket ship for growth.
Yeah. There's this perception that technology, which is disruptive, is going to eliminate jobs and be bad for our industry. And that, by the way, that happens every time there's an industrial revolution. The fear is this is going to cost people their livelihoods and their jobs. But we've moved from an economy into a technological economy, and the mindset in a lot of these, in the United States, we still run the television season by the farming calendar.
Yeah.
The upfront season, the whole television season is still driven by the school year, which was driven by when the crops were ready to be taken out of the field.
You look at the U.S. farmer payroll in the 1800s, it was the biggest employer in the U.S.
Right.
Then tractors came along and combine harvesters came along, and whoa, people stopped starving. We had more food.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was a good thing.
Yeah, but look in here, in our industry, we never, ever done so much content as now. So we are not in a dying business. I think what we are thinking is that we are in a dying business, but the business overall is exploding. But we are maybe thinking in the wrong way. So
yeah, and when you say we,
mindset.
it is the traditionalists, it is the traditional media players
It's the
that are
mindset.
there.
it's a mindset question. Yes, it is.
But we get a lot of pushback on that because we talk a lot about mindset, change, etc. But every time we're talking to people, a lot of people are pushing back. They don't want to change anything.
Well, and I think...
And then you have people who do want to do that, and they're frustrated in companies where they cannot make any changes. So, where is that big disruption going to come from? Because you guys are trying, everyone's trying But it feels like we're still a minority.
I do. So last night, Addie is very outspoken. Simon, you've been outspoken here on the pod, but we had this dinner last night with people from various companies, some of my favorite companies, as you said, Simon, and some of the big tech players were there as well. And they were incredibly blunt and honest about the problems inside their own company. I don't know if they'll be as brave when they get back to the headquarters, but I think, Marian, that's the thing, is those of us who work who are charged with transformation have to be braver, because there are no safe jobs in broadcasting anymore. There are no safe jobs in media
streaming anymore.
And so if you're going to hold your tongue and try to play it safe, it's probably going to wind up the same for you either way. And if you can take a risk and speak truth to power, like these two gentlemen have here, like you do all the time, like I try to all the time, at least maybe you can try to change the mindset. This has been a great conversation. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming here, giving of your time. You've been wonderful guests. I wish everybody were as blunt as you are when they come on our pod. Marianne, we've been here. This is our last conversation on mic at IBC. What's your one big takeaway from IBC?
Okay, the one thing I think I saw this year I had never seen before, in terms of those who were present, both at booth and on stage, we had Snap, we had TikTok. We had YouTube multiple times. And so I think
Amazon.
There is a bit of a change happening in the way IBC sees itself beyond broadcasting, beyond pure tech. And so I've had discussion with them, and their big question for next year, and hopefully, they will have us on to help them do that, but they want to find a way to tee it up with a creator economy, the affinity economy, wherever you call it. So we can bring back Ade next year with Mr. Beast or anyone.
Well, I think actually,
but we're going to go, I think this is, I haven't seen anything that blew my mind, but at the same time, I'm not a tech person, so bear with me. But I will say that I feel that those streams of being more open and going beyond the B word.
Yeah, look, they were brave enough to have each of us here. They knew that I was going to come and throw truth bombs from stage, right? So credit to them. And I think you're right. I think this convention wants to shift into a change convention, into a convening of transformation, as it were. But I think you stumbled upon, if we are going to change the B in IBC, maybe it's the International Beyond Conference. Yeah. But I think my one big takeaway is, and it really gelled during these conversations on the pod, is I think we have to change or revert the definition of broadcasting to its original intention when it was coined for this this business in the first place, which is one to many or many to many. And I think if we can agree to all go back to our headquarters and to our bosses and to our employees and to our peers in the industry and say, we need to change, to speak truth to power, to be brave enough to speak about what we need to do to survive, then I think we can be the change internally in our organizations. This has been super fun. I love Amsterdam, I love you too. Great to see you here.
Ditto.
It's been great to do this on the floor of IBC. I hope we get to do it again next year.
100%.